Good morning and welcome to Brunch with Brian this morning. I'm going to call this Time Management Tuesday today because we're going to look at time management for a little bit. Time management is one of those topics that you think about every once in a while and you consider, and but it's so instrumental in your success. If you're getting your schedule accomplished, I mean, how are you managing your time? And does a lot of your time in a day go towards unproductive activities? Great to see you this morning, Isabel. Haven't seen you in a little bit. Missed you. We're wondering where you were. So great to see you and chime in, everybody. So let's talk about time management. So, do you operate with a schedule? That's number one. Are you working off a schedule? Do you have a plan? The problem is if you're just kind of winging it every day, and I'm not totally against to-do lists. Sometimes people run their schedule with a to-do list, and you can be a pretty productive person just if you're a person who operates is a good action taker. But a lot of times a to-do list doesn't really get you there because those items aren't plugged into a schedule. So you'll have a to-do list, and then you'll wake up the next day and pretty much your to-do list, there's a lot of the same items on there. And that's a good indication that maybe you have to look at your time management. So if you're carrying a lot of items over on your to-do list from one day to the next and from one week to the next, tasks you could accomplish, not ongoing tasks, then you need to look at where your time is going. Sometimes it's easy to identify time wasters, and you can say, okay, I know, my sister-in-law calls me every night and talks about her divorce or whatever. So you have certain things that are good uses of your time. I mean, time spent with family is generally positive. We encourage that, but you want to be using your time in ways that lead to success and happiness. Okay, so you want to be, is your time usage bringing you closer to success, or is it bringing you closer to happiness? If one of those two things, I mean, it's kind of simple, but if one of those two things apply, then it's a good use of your time. It's if it's bringing you closer to success or bringing you closer to happiness. I mean, if you want to just break it down simple, and if it's helping your family, obviously, if you're more successful and happy, you're going to be able to spread more happiness and success in your family. So now, do you work off of a schedule, and do you do your schedule the night before? That's a good question, because some people, I think a lot of the times, people who are quite effective and get a lot of tasks done in a day, a lot of times we'll look the night before and kind of, not maybe make a detailed plan, but have and sometimes a pretty detailed plan, but maybe at least a rough idea of your to-do list for tomorrow. So, like I said, your today form, and so you guys have, or if you don't have it, just contact the office. You can always send us an email anytime at support@thewolfcouple.com and ask for that form, the today form, or some kind of a day planner. And I'm okay. I mean, I designed this today form. It works good for me. I like the way it's laid out. It has goals on it. It has a schedule on it. And so I kind of like the way it's laid out, and you can do one per day. It's a today form. It's one per day. And so that's a good way to track it. But if you have a day timer that you've used in the past or are used to, that's fine too. However you structure your schedule, I'm not, I don't want to completely change how you manage your time unless you're not managing it well. Then we do want to, make some changes. But following a schedule can be a good suggestion. Some folks just don't like to follow a schedule, but if you have a to-do list, just imagine plugging your to-do list into a schedule. I mean, that's all it is. Scheduling is just taking your to-do list, and instead of just kind of knocking things out as you go, it's like actually plugging those things. Okay, from 10 to 10:30. Now, some of you actually have a pretty preordained, a pretty rigid schedule. You have a lot of things that you have to do at certain times, and so there's not as much flexibility in your schedule. If you are full-time real estate investing, you have potentially a very flexible schedule. So that's when you need to really pay attention to your time management. And you want to make sure that your time is going towards the people that you care about. This is the crazy thing about life, is sometimes the people who you don't care about, or who you don't care for them actually at all, they're the ones that suck up some of your time. So if you can do it, and this is a way, this is controlling your mind and using role control. If you are stuck dwelling on negative people, thinking about negative situations, and you're kind of dwelling on those things, that's a terrible use of your time. And it's not only negative for your mindset, it's wasteful. It's wasting your time. But it's so easy to get stuck, in certain things on TV, to get pulled in to, like, there's a lot of things going on with politics that people really get pulled in on. Now, how productive is that in your life if you're watching politics for 2 hours a day? Is any of that, are you actually going to be able to have any impact on any of that? Or are you just getting yourself aggravated? I'm not saying don't follow the news, but, do it in like an hour a day, or less, if you can do it, if you have to. But generally, I'd say, even watching the news at all may be a questionable use of your time if it's not leading to, remember, what's our goals? Success and happiness. So is your time use when you're watching politics on TV, are you heading towards success? Are you heading towards happiness? Or are you just getting aggravated and wasting time? So look at, where your time expenditures go, and that is attached to certain people. So look at, I don't want you to, don't let me like destroy your personal relationships or anything, but you got to kind of evaluate, is this a good use of my time? Am I happier and more successful because I just spent that half an hour on the phone talking to that person? So, sometimes people make brave choices. I don't know if I can share this, but I know somebody close to me who made a pretty brave choice recently, and actually realized that the person they were spending all their time with wasn't really leading them to happiness and success, and they made a big change. So that's a pretty brave move, making a drastic change in your life to change how you spend your time. But look at the people in your life, and I'm not saying excommunicate people or ostracize people, but be careful about expending your precious time with people that are not, making you feel better and more positive and more hopeful and excited about life, and more successful. Okay, because there's a lot of people who do make you feel that way. That's why you're here, right? You're here spending this time with me. This is a great use of your time management because it builds your technical knowledge. Sometimes we talk about very specific things, like go back a couple of Brunch with Brian's, and I talk about a stick campaign. If you haven't watched that one, that's a really good one to watch. I go through all the things that you should do leading up to and signing the agreement at the deal meeting. So this is a good use of your time to gain technical knowledge about real estate investing, which leads you to success, and also motivation and ways of thinking about your life and framing certain issues that can make you happier. So that's why I hope you come here to be more successful and more happy. And so, yes, I'm glad to see you, Isabel. It's great to see you here today. And our usual suspects, Robert, always great to see you. Morning, Caleb. We're going to do Teaching Tuesday. That's right, a little bit later today. Good morning. Sometimes, okay, that's a really good point there about fear management, because you say, well, my time management is bad. I can't seem to make my phone calls. I know I'm supposed to do a couple hours of phone calls every week, but I can't seem to find the time. Well, that's maybe because you're kind of avoiding it. You're finding other things to do. You're finding ways to not make your calls because you're kind of afraid. You're kind of anxious about doing it. But trust me, you just get better as you go along, and you get the more calls you make, the better you get. But just follow the scripts. Just have faith. Put your faith in the scripts, and put your faith in the system that if you make 20 calls a week following the Wolf Couple scripts, that's leading you to success. Okay, 20 calls a week is kind of my KPI, my minimum key performance indicator. I want you to do at least 20 calls, opening and closing calls. Yes, and sticking to your schedule. Now, you should lay this schedule out in advance. This is a key key point of time management, I'm surprised I didn't lead with this, is, you have to at least have your real estate investing time scheduled out. I'm not saying you have to have your whole life scheduled out where, every hour is like, and it's all planned out what you're going to do. But I do want you to know when you're supposed to be doing your calls and when you're supposed to be doing real estate investing, because if you don't have a schedule and if you don't make it a habit, it's easy to slip away. Okay, so sticking to your schedule. I always say, what's Brian's 3 keys to success? I wish you guys would know this. Maybe you do. Some of you guys know this already by heart. Stick to the steps, stick to the scripts, stick to your schedule. Obviously, today we're talking about your schedule. Hey, morning, Karen. Yes, looking forward to Friday. Don't forget, guys, I'm gonna see you all Friday. And yeah, if you got leads, I always like to see leads. If you want to turn in some leads in advance for this event, and maybe we'll try to make some live calls. We're necessarily planning on it, but honestly, if we have some good leads, I probably would do it. So guys, if you have leads that you want us to call live on Friday, I'm not promising we're going to do that, but Isabel brings this up. So if you have some good leads floating around, maybe that you've talked to and you can't get them off the schneid, you can't get them to pull the trigger, turn them in. And how do you turn them in? Just send us an email at support@thewolfcouple.com. You can just attach them to an email, support@thewolfcouple.com. Somebody put that in the chat. And then also, you can always call the office, 888-RICH-NOW. Anytime you need anything, help on anything, 888-RICH-NOW is a great source. Morning, JV. Yes. Our thoughts taking me to my goal. If I miss a teaching Tuesday, okay, you know what? I sometimes make those available after the fact. So if you can't make a teaching Tuesday, remember we play them again 3 hours later. So we play them at 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific, and then 3 hours later at 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Pacific. If you actually send me an email and ask me specifically for a recording, I will send you a link. So if you miss it and you really wanted to catch that one, and even if you saw one in the past that you wanted to see, go ahead, let me know, send me an email, support@thewolfcouple.com, and I will send you a link to that Teaching Tuesday. Okay, so Tuesday, yes, you can bring solid leads, and have a great day. 888-RICH-NOW. Thank you for putting that in the chat, Robert. Yes, call the office if you have any other questions. Let's use our time wisely today. Now, I'm going to be on Teaching Tuesdays again later today, so definitely tune in for that. And then on Friday, of course, you're all signed up for Friday. We're going to have a big group. It's going to be a lot of fun, and that's Friday. If you're not signed up for that, go to homeinvestingacademy.com, and sign up for $1 so we can hold your space. All right, so our affirmation for today is, I use my time well. Okay, I use my time well. We only have so much precious time on this earth, so we want to use our time well. I use my time well. 3 times on 3. Ready? 1, 2, 3. I use my time well. I use my time well. I use my time well. Yes. Yes, yes, yes. Do deep breathing. Let's do 3 deep breaths. Nice deep breath in. Oh, you can even feel your spine cracking sometimes as you inhale and your bones start to move around. Okay, exhale, another deep breath. That's good. If you hear a couple of exhale, yeah, I'm serious. If you hear a couple of pops, that's a good thing. It's your body getting a little bit of activity and stretching. One more deep breath. Always with a big smile, and let it go. Awesome. All right. Have a great day. I'll see you on Teaching Tuesday. Remember that 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific, repeated 3 hours later. So I'm looking forward to that. And we'll see you then. Until then, keep expecting success, getting awesome training from the Wolf Couple, and taking action. And don't forget Friday. You're all going to be there on Friday. It's going to be awesome.